Alright class, this is number 6 in chapter 12. So consider the economy of Centronia, where citizens consume only orange. So the orange is priced at $1 each. Government has devised the following tax plan. So plan A, consume after 1,000 orange at a tax at 50%. Consumption higher than 1,000 orange is taxed at 20%. And plan B says consume up to 2,000 orange is taxed 15%. Consumption higher than 2,000 orange taxed 35%. All right, let's look at what else. So using the plan A, using the plan B tax scheme to complete the following table by deriving the marginal and average tax rate and each tax plan and consumption level of 500, 1,200, 2,500 respectively. All right, so let's do part A over here. So if you consume 500 orange, now 500 orange, that'll be under this first part over here. So that's less than 1,000. So it'll be taxed at 50%. So each one is $1. So $500 at 50%. Then your marginal tax rate, or tax rate is 50%. Now for the next one, 1,200. Now for 1,200, you're in this bracket over here, so you're gonna be taxed at 20%, and 2,500 same thing, 20%. Now for average rate, we need to figure out what is the tax paid, and then divide it by the income or the total consumption level. So for the first party over here, let me see, how should I do this? All right, so let me open spreadsheet. That'll be easier. Okay, so you consume 500 orange. That means you're spending $500, and your tax will be 50% of this. So here, let me make a table. Can't spell orange right. Tax rate, tax paid. All right, so for tax paid, it will be the 50% times the number orange, so 250, and then average tax rate. So for average tax rate, we're going to use our tax paid, 250, divided by the number orange. So that's also 50%. Okay, so for the first one, it's very simple, just 50%. Now for the second one, it's a little more difficult. It's 1,200. Now the tax rate will be different. So the tax rate we divide in two halves. The first half is your first 1,000. You pay the 50% rate, and then the second 200, you pay the 20% rate. And then tax paid, let me just drag this down. Okay, so tax paid will be 540. Now the total tax paid will be the total between here. So 500 plus 40, that's your total tax paid, so it's 540. And then total orange was 1,200, so which means your average tax rate for this consumption will be 540 divided by 1,200, so 0.45 or 45%. Okay, and then last one, 2,500. So 2,500 is first 1,000 50%. The next 1,500 is 50%. So your tax rate is here. This is not right. This plus this. All right, 32%. Okay, so 32%. Now for plan B, the first 2,000 is 15%. So that's a 15% rate. And this would be 15% rate, 15% rate, 15% rate. Now the reason why for plan B, the first two answers are the same, they're all 50%, because as long as you're in the same bracket, then you're gonna have the same rate. So as long as you're below 2,000, will be all 15% for everything. Just like over here, you see this one over here. When I was below 1,000, it was all 50%. So for plan B, when it's below these two numbers, it's all 15%. Now, when it's above that, so at 2,500, your marginal rate will be listed over here. So 35% is your marginal tax rate. And then for the average tax rate, let's do the same calculation. But let's change our numbers over here. So I'll just copy this. It's probably easier. Or just change this. So the first 2,000, we pay how much? 15% rate. So 15% rate. The next 500 would pay a 35% rate. That should give you a total rate of 16% or 19%. Okay, 19% goes over here. Okay, so plan A is a progressive, proportional, or regressive. Now, we're gonna for this answer is gonna compare your average tax rate. If your average, I'm sorry, gonna compare your marginal tax rate. So for marginal tax rate, if it's increasing, that's a progressive. If it's same, that's proportional. If it's decreasing, it's regressive. So for plan A, you see the number goes from 50 to 20 to 20, so it's lowered. So this will be regressive. And then for plan B, it changes from 15 to 35. This is increasing, so this is progressive. Okay, so good now. Let's see. All right, everything's right. So that's how you do number 6 on chapter 12. So any question, let me know. All right, guys, good luck.